Hey everyone, and welcome to the 8th episode of the Games Per Second podcast. I'm still Giovanni, and with me is...
Winston, still. Hello.
As always. This episode is going to be a little bit different because it's that time of year, baby! It's finally, after a bit of a hiatus last year, we're back with E3. Are you excited? I'm very excited.
I'm so excited, my dude.
So let's just hop right into things. Why don't you start?
Alright, okay, so I have a lot of predictions ready. I did say, okay, we're gonna get some predictions and some wants ready, each on our own, so we don't know each other's.
Of course.
I went really deep into these things, just so you know.
I did not go that deep. I think you could probably even pick mine, top of your head. You honestly probably could.
No, I think you can pick mine too.
Okay.
But, I went deep into them.
Okay.
So, if I'm right, and I'm fully right, it'll be amazing. But it also makes it so I'm probably going to be wrong more so than right.
Oh no.
Anyways, let's get into it. So my first prediction, the Mario Odyssey team, Nintendo EPD, announces their new Donkey Kong game. It's a 2.5D platformer, but in the same vein that Mario 3D World was in the 2.5D platformer.
Oh,
and
I wasn't thinking about that. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's done in a way to differentiate between this game from the Donkey Kong Country games released by Retro.
Yep.
It can be used as a transition to fully 3D Donkey Kong, like 3D World to Odyssey.
Ooh.
It's gonna have Donkey Kong, Diddy, Dixie, and Funky as the first playable characters, and other characters will be added later in the game, like Rosalina was in 3D World.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I did not go this deep into my predictions, by the way.
It will look as spectacular as Odyssey did, maybe even better because of the smaller levels.
Yeah, smaller scope, of course.
And
oh man,
it's gonna have a bump in the soundtrack.
All Donkey Kong games always have, so that's not a very well kept secret. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, I didn't even think about the 3D World take on it. That would be something. That would be really, really cool. Really marry those old, because even way back when with a Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong 64, kind of marrying those two concepts, but in a modern way, akin to 3D World would be just, I think, just what the doctor ordered for that series.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with that. I didn't think about that, but we'll get to my list soon enough.
Yeah. So, what do you? I'm thinking because the what was it? The speculation or the thing before.
Yep.
That they did say, oh, it's gonna be 3D. Okay, it's gonna be 2D. And then they said that they're doing something to differentiate it between the retro game and the game that's being made now.
Yes.
And I was like, how are you supposed to do that? It's almost impossible to make another 2D game that doesn't feel like a Donkey Kong Country game. But if you make a 2.5D, which is 3D World is obviously a 3D game.
Yes.
But it's kind of
the perspectives and cameras are fixed.
Yeah, if you made a 2D platformer into a 3D game with as much restrictions as possible, that's kind of what 3D World is.
Yeah. Yeah. Because 3D World was just a bigger version of 3D Land that was on 3DS.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I feel this 2.5D, it's not even 2.5D, but I'll reference it as 2.5D.
Yeah.
Is the way to go with the Donkey Kong Country, or whatever the Donkey Kong game is gonna be.
I did not think of that, but I think you could be right. I think you could be onto something.
Imagine if I am,
dude,
to a T.
Dude, oh man, are you kidding me? Because when the rumors and quote unquote leaks started saying, oh, it's gonna be 2D, I was like, but we already have Tropical Freeze. That was apparently such a great game. I can just go buy that. But
yeah, exactly.
If you're right and it's closer to 3D World, that is a that's a day one purchase. It's probably a pre-order for me. That's up there. That would be awesome. Seriously.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
man.
is like I thought.
I really
like,
hope you're
what
right.
kind of game could they make that would make me want to buy it, like almost immediately?
That.
This is definitely up there. If obviously if it
100%.
was a full 3D Donkey Kong game, like it would also make me want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But because of like
of
the
course.
rumors that came out, then
Yeah.
this is like a better way to go about the prediction.
Yeah, especially after the 3D World port. I think it could be, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like 3D World is out of people's minds. It's fresh in people's minds because of the port that came out just a few months ago. So I think that could definitely work. That's a great idea.
Thank you very much, Nintendo. If you're looking for some idea, man,
I'm your guy.
I'm around.
Yeah, this is your man.
Does that overlap with any of your predictions?
I mean, due to the leak, I also had a 2D Donkey Kong, but I didn't think of that 3D World take on it. But yes, because of the leak, I did have a 2D Donkey Kong on mine.
Nice. Okay, how many predictions do you have? Because I have 6.
I've got 5.
Nice. Got it. You want to go into another prediction for yourself then?
For me, yes. So, I mean, does it really count as a prediction if it's just the sequel to Breath of the Wild? Does that count? Because that's one of my predictions.
I mean, I think it counts.
Right? Because that's the first one on my list. Because it's such a layup. It's a layup. Of course.
It is.
Of course. It better be there. I would be very disappointed if it weren't, but I'm pretty sure.
It would be more surprising to not see it than to see it, honestly.
100% agree with that. 100%. My thing is, well, the only question marks, because we know it's probably going to be a very good game, but how is that world going to be reused? Is it going to feel a bit stale? Is it going to be is it going to feel fresh? Because we know it's going to be the same engine. It's going to be the same Hyrule, isn't it? But like different in a way, something like that.
They said they're going to reuse the same map, and like a lot of the same assets. I'm sure they made a bunch of like new assets and stuff.
Oh, of course.
They actually, like, Age of Calamity probably goes to show that they might have already had those assets.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, let me go. I also have this on my prediction. Obviously, it was
it's
the easiest prediction to make almost.
It's a gimme.
But I also went more in depth with this as well. Allow me to steal your thunder here.
Please, no, please go ahead.
So there's gonna be a fully realized trailer, all with in-game footage.
Agree.
Because like Breath of the Wild, like all the trailers and stuff was in-game footage anyways.
Yep.
Revealing parts of the map that were once desolate, now filled with a lot more life and buildings, etc.
Ooh.
It's gonna show off a new mechanic, diving, allowing you to explore underwater and the ocean and stuff.
That would be something. That would be cool.
It will quickly give a glimpse of new full and functional dungeons that will make a comeback, and they'll be added to the map by being underground caves.
So not like the shrines, like more traditional dungeons.
Yes, traditional dungeons. And it's gonna go back to creepier tones like Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say after the first trailer 2 years ago, I 100% agree with that, and I 100% cannot wait.
Oh, for sure.
I cannot wait.
Like I can't say much about Twilight Princess. I've watched playthroughs. It's a very cool looking game.
Mm-hmm.
But like Majora's Mask is easily one of my favorite games that I haven't even played. I love the concept and like how they pulled it off and everything.
I've watched the Game Grumps playthrough, which took like a 2-year hiatus before they finally went back and finished it during quarantine. But just playing that, so like again, I haven't physically played it myself, but having watched their playthrough, like I know the characters, I've seen how the story unfolds, I've seen all that, and I'm sure some of the mechanics haven't aged gracefully, the core concepts, the characters, the world, it's all there. It's all there. It might need, if they were to port it to Switch, for example, it could use a few quality of life things, like the 3D version on 3DS got. Minus a couple things, because that apparently took away some features that people were upset about, but it's something in that vein where the controls are a bit more modern. So I think that game could use a few quality of life things, but if we're comparing it to the new Breath of the Wild sequel, I think the concepts, the characters, the world was 100% there and awesome. So if this new game is anywhere close to that sort of vibe, that would be super exciting.
I completely agree. I feel like this is like, so Breath of the Wild 2, Breath of the Wild. Wow, that's a weird sentence to say. Breath of the Wild, the first game. 2,
yeah.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
It's like very, it's almost like an exact correlation to Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask.
Yeah, both use the same engine.
Without,
both, yeah.
Yeah, without like the same crunch factor. Where, like,
no.
They crunch the Ocarina of Time team to make another Zelda game. I genuinely, because of how good Majora's Mask came out in concept, even like technically it was okay. It's just like the engine was a bit wonky, as you were saying. But it was the same engine as the first ever 3D Zelda game. So, I mean, things are going to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of faith that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be like spectacular. And I know you have your doubts about like the reusing of the map and everything.
I'm just curious to know how like, I mean, not doubts in like the team per se.
Oh no, I know.
I trust that team, and like I trust that they're going to do something really, really cool with it. But it's just like, how can you reuse it and not make it feel stale? I think that's a tall task. I think they're up to the challenge. I just think it's a tall task, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think in my mind, it's kind of like if I went to some like foreign country that I really enjoyed as a child, and then I came back as an adult, and like there's still a sort of similar sense of wonder, where it's like, wow, all these things have changed. Like, look at how like far this has come. Because I do think that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be set in the map that has like progressed since the end of Calamity Ganon.
Yes.
So like I feel like it's gonna be really bustling with like new life and everything. There's gonna be like towns and stuff where there weren't towns before.
That'd be cool.
Or like where there were towns before and then there weren't and now they're back again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's not like I have a lot of faith in the team, just like you do.
100%.
And like with that faith, I guess I'm less skeptical about like how they're gonna make the map stale. I also played the game a lot less than you did. Like, I only played one full playthrough.
You played the DLC though.
I did play the DLC.
I did not. But yeah,
DLC
the main game I played quite a bit of. And I'm probably gonna play it again, except with the DLC before the sequel comes out. So I'm gonna pick up the DLC, and then I am upset that I can't have multiple save files on one user, but I'm probably just gonna delete my save file, download the DLC, and then give it another playthrough. Because why not?
Yeah. Suggestion. Obviously, if you want to play through the whole game again, go for it. But the majority of the DLC
it's post-game
content is post-game. So if you want to go straight into DLC stuff, it might be
don't delete
beneficial
my
to
save.
Not delete your save.
If I make a second user on Switch, but not a separate account, like is that possible? Like a second, like me, but not a second.
The same thing.
Like, but like I want like all of my games in one spot. I don't want to have a second user because like I just want a separate save file. That's all I want. So I might look into that as well. Whereas
I
make like a
think you
bum
can.
user.
I think that works, but only if you have a physical cartridge.
I have a physical cartridge of that game.
Oh, okay. Well, then I think you'd be fine. Yeah. Then, but I think the DLC will be tied to whatever account you buy it in.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want a separate account. I want a second
But a
user that
Switch-
uses the second account. Is that possible?
Isn't
Like most
the
people-
Switch
What?
Mii's, like their accounts and users are like one and the same?
That's what I don't know. I thought they were mutually exclusive. To which,
I
so just in
genuinely
case
don't know.
like multiple people use one Switch.
Oh, well, I mean, we'd have to look into it. This
Yeah.
is kind of like steering away from.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, but
No, it's not a big deal.
Moral of the story is, I both want to play the DLC and want to replay the game at some point before the sequel comes out. Also, about the sequel, the trailer showed Link and Zelda together. I think there's going to be co-op to some degree, and or potentially switching between characters for certain things. I don't know how that's going to work, but I think there could be either co-op and or switching between those two characters, and I think that could be a very, very cool mechanic.
Oh, so my prediction, because I still have 2 more points on.
Oh yeah,
Breath of the Wild
go for it,
2.
go for it.
I'll go to the one.
That was part of mine.
I don't think Zelda will be a playable character, and fans are going to be disappointed because of this.
Ooh,
This
Big if
was
true.
the point that I went back and forth, like the most on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, but she has short hair. It looks like she's like ready to be like a part of the actual game experience. They showed her in the dungeon. Like, what is she gonna do if she's not a playable character? She's not like a Princess Peach type where she's just gonna get stolen away again. I don't think.
Yeah.
Or at least I would hope not. That would be really like poop to see. Like, oh, I just saved Zelda in the last game, and even if like years have passed in game, like we don't feel that.
Correct.
If they just take her away again,
that
like
would be
that
kind
would
of
be
weird,
very weird.
especially after that trailer.
But Nintendo is like very strict, usually on like who you get to play in the games that they make. And I don't know, man. I just have this weird feeling that I don't think Zelda's going to be playable, and I wish she is. I do genuinely wish she is. But like, there's just that back of my head that keeps on saying like, Nintendo's not going to do it.
Well,
Maybe
what
she'll
would,
be like one of those people that follow you around.
I was gonna say, well, then what would the purpose of her being in the trailer be for?
No, I mean, she was in trailers and stuff. I mean, she was in cutscenes and stuff in the first game as well. I don't think the trailer is just a trailer.
Yeah.
I think that's an actual cutscene from the game.
Interesting. I think you might be right, though. Looking
Obviously
at it.
spliced together with like
Yes,
multiple cutscenes.
yes.
But yeah,
Yeah. Interesting. So you don't think there's going to be co-op or any switching between the two?
no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Gia. I'm not sure.
Fair. There was
I
actually-
want it to be
oh,
true.
what? Sorry.
I want it to be true that she's gonna be playable. That's my want. But like, I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Fair. So what's next on your list, though?
Okay, so still under Breath of the Wild, I've got Magic will come back to replace or an addition to the Sheikah Slate.
Oh. Okay.
That's based on the trailer because of the whole like hand thing that Link had going on.
Okay.
You remember?
I do.
And to put this out there, if Zelda is a playable character, I feel like if it's like a switchable thing, she'll do the Sheikah Slate stuff, and Link will now have like a magic.
Ooh, when was that the end of the first game? Wasn't it the other way around? Like, didn't Zelda save everyone because she had the power within and the light and stuff like that? Spoilers for anyone who hasn't played a 4.5-year-old game.
She's like destroyed Calamity herself, I guess. Like
Yeah.
with all her magic and like making the light arrow for Link and stuff.
Yeah, well, no, like at the end of that, when she like sealed the darkness or whatever. Remember, because she like in the memory cutscenes, how she kept going to like the statue and the fountain to try and find her sealing powers.
Yeah, your sealing powers from the Triforce. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So wouldn't it be the other way around, where she's got the magic and he's still got the Sheikah Slate? You're saying Link's gonna have magic and she's gonna have the Sheikah Slate.
Yeah, I genuinely think Link's gonna have magic because of the whole arm thing that happened. And as someone who played Age of Calamity, Zelda is like a Sheikah Slate person. Like she's straight up has a Sheikah Slate the whole time.
Okay,
and throughout
I did not play that game.
It's throughout Breath of the Wild. It's more subtle in Breath of the Wild, but in Age of Calamity, they definitely like make you feel like this is the most like technology inclined Zelda there ever was.
Interesting.
Like even in Breath of the Wild, it shows like, oh, you know, she's trying to work on these guardians and stuff instead of going to do her like maiden journey or whatever.
Fair
she
point.
Just likes technology, so I do feel like she would take over the Sheikah Slate.
Interesting take on it. You could be onto something though.
Yeah.
How do you think of it that way?
I hope I'm completely. I mean, I don't know if I hope I'm completely right, because I do want Zelda to be playable and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and the last point for Breath of the Wild too is a bump in, but subtle soundtrack.
Ooh, oh, of course. Like the first one. The first one, dude. Some of those town themes and whatnot. I mean, they each town had like a day and night theme, and like, you know, my affection for that soundtrack. Like I've been very inspired by it, but in my own endeavors in music production. It's just especially the night versions where it's very subtle, it's very relaxed, and they usually have the same melody and chord progressions as the day versions, but it'll use more muted tones and or just different instrumentation, and it's just so relaxed, and usually a slower tempo as well. And it's just like for anyone who's interested, just listen to the night version of Zora's Domain theme and the night version of Kakariko Village's theme from Breath of the Wild. Those are two of my favorite songs in any video game ever. They are amazing. They're so good. So I hope the sequel can have a soundtrack that's half that good. It's love that soundtrack so much. I love it so much.
I have to agree. It is really, really good. I know people complain about the music in Breath of the Wild all the time.
Why?
No, because it's kind of like subtle, like throughout the whole game. There's not music playing throughout the whole game, like a lot of the other Zelda games.
I guess, but that's what makes those moments when it comes up so special.
No, I agree.
There's more dynamic. There's more dynamic to it.
I feel like when I'm exploring and I'm coming across things, like just having the ambiance of like the noise around me, the crunching of the feet, and like the wind and everything, like that's enough.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm actually there. There's not like a weird guy following me around with a stereo. You know what I mean?
Exactly. If it was a lot more genuine, and even in those moments, you'll hear a few piano notes and chords here and there, just kind of scattered throughout. Just remind you, like, hey, we still here. But no, yeah, I get how people like who play the more traditional ones get used to like the old Hyrule Field theme, or like the Outside Island. Is it in Wind Waker? Whatever it's called, Outlet Island. I forget. Someone's gonna get mad at that. Yeah, like I get how if you're accustomed to having this, like you said, just like a guy following you with the stereo the whole time, how Breath of the Wild straying from that could be weird. But like for me, but it's I think they absolutely nailed it. I think again, like I said, having a quieter moments makes those big grander moments stand out that much more because of that dynamic. I think it creates a situation where now that there's a soundtrack going, you notice it because one hasn't been going the whole damn time.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I also feel like, just as the programmer in me, is like, how would you do that? Like, where would you draw the line? Like, where does one song stop and another song end, or like another song start in the overworld? And like, with how vast things are, like, you could be listening to the same song forever. Like, imagine if they did Hyrule Field, but it's just like the overworld map, anything that's not named. You're just listening to the exact same song forever and ever. That would...
Yeah, no, that'd be weird.
I also feel like walking past a barrier. So let's say that, like, I'm listening to the Hyrule Field of Breath of the Wild, and I walk past the invisible barrier where, like, there's a trigger, and it's like, okay, it's time to play this song.
Yeah.
And the song just, like, kind of cuts and jumps into the next. Like, that would kind of take me out of the experience as well.
Yeah.
So, genuinely, I think they did an amazing job.
What I will say,
I wouldn't change it.
What I will say, there's also a cool thing about the Breath of the Wild soundtrack before moving on, is when transitioning from, like, say if you're standing, for example, in Kakariko Village, and it's going from day to night, and the song has to switch from the day song to the night song, it doesn't just like slow down and fade into a different song. They actually composed like a 4 or 8 bar a transition piece to where, like, so it goes from the day song to this 8 bar transition piece to the night song. It doesn't fade. It goes, it's a uniquely composed and recorded piece, and back from night to day as well, which I thought was a very, it's one of those touches that's not necessary, but now that it's there, like, it just shows the absolute level of polish and sheen that they wanted to put on this game.
Yeah, I mean, people like really downplay how much effort was put into the soundtrack of the game. Because it's not as obvious.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be obvious to be good.
Oh, I am in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
But I can see, like, where they're coming from. Is if you're not, like, really listening to it and everything, then you're like, oh, where's all the music that I once loved and enjoyed?
It's still there.
It is still there. It's just
there.
Spread out more.
It's much more nuanced. It's a different approach, but in my opinion, even more effective, because
I love it
of how it's more nuanced. But anyway, we we could keep going on this game. I think it's such a good game. But so you said Donkey Kong, that was on my list. I said Breath of the Wild 2, that was on your list. So what's on your list next?
Okay, so I have a small prediction here.
Okay.
So Pokemon.
Okay. We know some games are coming.
Yep. So I think the remakes will reveal that they aren't as faithful as they were made out to be.
Interesting.
So, like, there's gonna be the addition of megas and some other, like, quality of life changes and stuff.
Oh, so like an Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire type thing.
Yeah. There was a leak of someone who, like, saw mega stuff in the code, or, like, not in the code. I don't know. There was a leak of someone who saw, like, megas already.
Interesting.
I don't know if I completely believe it, but I've obviously put it in my prediction, so I believe it enough.
Yeah, fair.
And I do think that they have to do something other than make an exact remake of it, because I don't know about you, man, but, like, the art style is definitely not pulling me in. So
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I get it, but is it like full price game? I don't know. If it were like 40-60 Canadian buckaroos, maybe, but like a full 80 Canadian, I don't know.
I don't even know if I would pay 60.
Honestly, I specify Canadian because I don't know where people are watching this from, or could be watching this from in the future, if not live. But yeah, I don't know if it's a full price thing. Because
I could go back and play these games, and arguably they look better in sprites. So
interesting.
People might get upset with that. I'm not saying that the art style that they did go for is bad.
No. You prefer the other?
Yeah, I would prefer if they were gonna go 3D. I would have preferred if they went like full on, like Let's Go almost, because Let's Go looks really nice, even if the game is
It does.
not as intuitive.
Fair. Interesting.
Yeah, and then the second thing is I have Arceus will get another trailer.
Of
this
course.
time showing Pokemon that are not going at like 5 frames per second.
Yeah,
it's not going to get highlighted too much though. So
no,
they're saying there's stuff for their own Pokemon streams.
Yes, the Pokemon stuff is not going to be at the Nintendo Direct. It's going to be on its own thing, correct?
No, I don't.
Or is it?
I'm not sure. Like,
I
are
thought
they
it was
doing
getting his own
something
thing.
for E3?
I don't know.
Like the Pokemon peoples?
I thought it was getting its own thing. Do not quote me. But I thought it was getting its own thing.
If they are, then obviously I'm talking about that and not on the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, whenever the Pokemon company announces their or talks about their games, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Wherever.
I'm going to rewind for a second here. I did also put in Breath of the Wild 2 that it's going to be released this holiday season.
Yes, I completely agree with that. We've talked about that multiple times. I still agree with that 100%. Yeah. It's got to be the big anchor. I think it's a big anchor.
I don't think the Pokemon remakes are going to have as much pull.
No way.
And maybe that's why they moved Arceus when they did, like, to where it is. They're like, let's not put Arceus and Breath of the Wild 2 in the exact same.
Yes. I also think, knowing of how Game Freak has been with games in the past, I think it was a bit of a safety net. Like, maybe they wanted to make it a big holiday thing, but they were like they weren't sure if they could make it. And instead of announcing for holiday and then delaying it, they were like, let's just say it's next year.
Yeah, I can see that. I can also see them being like, hey, we want to announce this for the holiday season. And Nintendo's like, all right, but, we're releasing Breath of the Wild 2. And then they're like,
never mind.
Maybe not.
Honestly, maybe, though. Yeah, because that's tough competition. If Nintendo tells you Breath of the Wild's sequel is coming out this holiday, you might not want to take it up as well.
Yeah.
How many games
also,
are in the past? Oh, sorry?
It's like the same style-ish game. Like a roaming overworld and everything, so it'd be really bad. Like, especially with how the first trailer looked for Arceus. Man.
Yeah.
It would look bad in comparison.
Yeah. A lot of people have already compared Link's Awakening and Breath of the Wild to Diamond and Pearl and Breath of the Wild, respectively.
Diamond and Pearl and Arceus, respectively, yes.
Sorry, what did I say?
You said Breath of the Wild again.
Oh, sorry, no. Breath of the Wild and Arceus are being compared, and Link's Awakening and Diamond and Pearl are being compared. My bad.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Yeah. So I do agree how having like a Pokemon Breath of the Wild, Game Freak, and Pokemon Company might be like, don't know if I want to compete with the real thing.
Yeah.
Might want my own release a window. Because how many times have we seen a really a good games get released at the wrong time and just get swallowed? Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out like 3 weeks before Red Dead Redemption 2. Despite Odyssey being, from what I've heard, better than Origin, I didn't hear much about Odyssey. Just because, again, Red Dead Redemption 2 came out right after. A famous one over time was a Titanfall 2. It got released like a week after Call of Duty and the week before Battlefield something. And so it just got absolutely swallowed, despite it being a very, very good game from what I've heard. So, I think that we've seen that too many times. And Pokemon Company and Game Freak were like, yeah, let's not do that thing.
Yeah, I feel like Pokemon Company and like Game Freak and Nintendo as a whole, like they are very collaborative. Like they know what's going down.
Of course.
Very rarely does a Pokemon game get swallowed up by some. I mean, more likely than not, a Pokemon game swallowed up something else.
Yeah.
So very rarely does that happen.
Usually.
The releases that come out near Pokemon games are either like way mature, like not aiming for like the same audience, or they're just like smaller games that Nintendo just doesn't really have as much faith in.
With that different audience thing, one example of say Nintendo releasing a game. I mean, this example literally on the same date as another big budget game, but both were tailored to completely different audiences. Was last March 20th,
I know exactly what you're
2020,
about,
Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal. Nintendo was not afraid because they know it's two completely different demographics, and sure enough, both sold exceptionally well for each respective company. So yeah, I think demographics definitely plays a big part in that, and whether or not it can be successful around the same time as another big budget game.
Yeah, I also this is something that maybe I'll make a video on later on, but I do believe that like the reason that Pokemon Company has stuck so closely to Nintendo, aside from just like how close they have been from the beginning, is that their target demographic is mostly like
it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically the same thing because both typically target younger audiences, but both also have faithful older audiences of adults who have been around since the late 80s and 90s with Pokemon really got started in the 90s, especially the video games, and a lot of people like our age and even a bit older would be like, oh man, I remember having my a Super Nintendo, my Nintendo 64. So both have a younger target audience and a faithful older audience from days gone by. So I think that plays perfectly into each other.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, do you have anything else on Pokemon?
No, Pokemon was very small for me.
Fair. So I've got an indie game, and it's kind of cheating. Well, okay, it's Dusk. Well, specifically the Dusk port on Switch because it's already out on PC. So what we know so far as fact from the producer of New Blood Interactive on Twitter is that the Switch port of Dusk passed Nintendo's lot check in late March. Hold on, reverse. For context, it was supposed to be released last Halloween. They said that they could have released it at 30 frames per second and then updated it months later. They decided against that. I think it was the right choice. They just outright delayed and didn't give another release date until March of this year. They said that it passed Nintendo lot check, but they were still working on rejigging menus and still optimizing, rejigging menus for the sake of making it more console friendly, as well as still continuing the optimization process. A few days ago, they said that they're going to be announcing some stuff around E3 and at several E3 things, the PC Gamer thing is doing a presentation around now. They've been retweeting a lot of that stuff. And a few other presentations that I'm forgetting right now. But in addition to it passing lot check in March, a couple days ago, they said that the optimization process and menus and all that's done. So it's effectively gone gold at this point, as far as we know. So I think that port could be and will be getting a release date very soon. Around this E3 time, potentially at the PC Gamer thing, and or if Nintendo, I doubt they'll do an indie thing at their presentation, but which is why it's probably going to be at the PC Gamer one and not the Nintendo Direct. But still, moral is, based on what we know, it's past lot check. It's effectively gone gold internally. And so I think it's going to get a release date for any fans of indie shooters, which I am a big one of. So I think that's getting a release date very, very soon.
Yeah, that makes sense based on what you know.
Yeah. I cannot
Probably
wait for
will
that
see it.
game. I know it's not a major budget game, which is why it's kind of like a Last of Us. I've got backups, don't worry. But I adore that game. I've beat it on PC. Of course, I'm double dipping. Might get it physically for Switch, as they're doing a limited run games thing with it, which they've shown off the case and everything. I think it looks great, and I can't wait to double dip and play the game all over again.
Yeah, dude. So, okay, anyone watching on YouTube from this point forward, or a VOD or whatever, sorry for this next, 2 minutes or whatever. Geo,
Yep.
we are under the Monster Hunter Rise tag on Twitch.
Wait, I don't see that. I can't control that on my end.
We're also still named testing.
I've updated everything. That shouldn't be correct.
I'm just telling you what I've just realized.
Okay.
You might
My
have to, jump into
apologies.
actual Twitch.
Hmm?
You might have to jump into actual Twitch.
Oh, look at my browser.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I will do that as you go for your next game.
Yes, sir. Sorry for anyone watching. Just, technical difficulties. This is our first live show. We didn't mention that earlier on.
It is indeed.
So, there's still stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
We'll be sure to be better. Always. Every time. But I'll move on as Gio's fixing this up. I've got my fourth point here, and it is Metroid.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
You might not like what I have.
Oh no! I trusted you. I trusted you.
So, Metroid Prime 4 will be teased.
Okay.
Maybe showing absolutely nothing.
Oh.
Maybe some concept art kind of stuff.
Okay.
But they will confirm that it's still in development.
I can get down with that. Not ideal, but I can get down with it.
Yeah. And because I believe Metroid Prime 4 and the trilogy are going to be released somewhat close to each other to build the hype,
yes,
there's not going to be
Agreed.
any mention of the trilogy.
Ooh.
To build the hype.
Interesting.
Yes, there's not going to be
Agreed.
any mention of the trilogy. Instead, there's going to be an announcement of a new 2D Metroid game. It's going to be
I agree with that.
Brand new, not a remake or an older game.
I was not going to say the same thing with that.
And it's going to be in the style of Samus Returns, but obviously way bigger and looking a lot better.
Interesting.
And it's going to have a bump in soundtrack.
Always. Yo. Kenji Yamamoto, I've mentioned him before. He's done Super Metroid, Metroid Prime Trilogy, amazing soundtracks. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I would be extremely excited for that. Even if it is, like you said, it's not 4 or Trilogy, and it's teasing 4 and then talking about a 2D Metroid, maybe not too far from how they set up Skyward Sword HD, how they're Breath of the Wild 2 is still in development, but for the time being, here's something close to it. I think it could be something similar to that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. I think that could be really, really, really great. Yeah. Sorry, no.
So you
said
that. No. So you said that for 2D Metroid, you were expecting what?
I thought it was going to be a similar to how Samus Returns was a remake of Metroid 2 for the original Game Boy. I've heard people talk about a Super Metroid remake because they already remade. Remade the original Metroid for Game Boy Advance with Zero Mission. That was, again, not a 1-to-1 remake. It was like a reimagining in a sense because there was a bit more to it. Samus Returns was a remake of Metroid 2. And so I think this, on that line, this could be a remake of Super Metroid if we're going in that order.
Okay, understood.
Just based on the previous remakes and how they've been in chronological order. Well, okay, maybe not chronological. I don't know how the story goes, because what's a prequel, what's not a prequel. But like in order of their release.
Yeah. I completely understand. I was going back and forth between another remake and a new game as well. So I definitely don't oppose what you're saying.
Fair.
I don't know enough about Metroid as well to know whether or not a re-release or a remake or a completely new game will perform better, honestly.
I
would love to say...
Yeah?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what also I have heard is that similar to how for Pokemon, they re-released the first generation on Game Boy Advance in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but then they started going through in order of each generation. But then for Switch, they kind of semi-rebooted with the Let's Go series. Some people are saying that could be another remake of the original, but again, more akin to Zero Mission, where it's like a bit different, a bit more expanded. So I've also heard them possibly going back to the original / Zero Mission for if they go the remake route and not the original route.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I think there's a whole bunch of 2D Metroid games that could be remade and would be made significantly better.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, but I do think that could be very, very interesting to see what happens with that.
I do think Metroid is going to be here, though.
Yep.
Regardless.
Agree. I think it's a bit overdue. By the way, the stream is fixed.
Nice.
But yeah. I love Metroid games. Primarily Prime, the Prime series, but still, I'll take anything at this point. I will take anything at this point.
I think if a 2D Metroid game comes out and it looks really good on the Switch, I probably will grab it.
Nice.
I'm really big on 2D stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They're also usually smaller in scope, which means I'm not dedicating my entire life to a game.
Interesting. Fair.
Which is something that benefits me, because I don't know, for long games, even if I love them, sometimes I just sort of drop off.
Yeah, so, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I'll definitely, if there's a 2D Metroid and it looks really good, which I'm sure it will if it does come out, I'll probably grab it.
Fair. I was also going to mention Metroid, so there goes one of my other ideas for the record. But another game that's on my list, well, game / company, if it's not this exact game. Bayonetta 3. And if Bayonetta 3 isn't there, I think we could have something similar to an Astral Chain, where it's either an Astral Chain sequel or similar to what Astral Chain was then, just a brand new IP from Platinum. I think that could be cool. Again, my money would be on Bayonetta 3, because it's been a very long time since we've heard anything about that game. So I'm hoping it's Bayonetta 3, but if not, I do think Platinum will still be there to some capacity.
I agree. I didn't even think about Bayonetta 3.
You gotta think about Bayonetta 3.
Even it's been so long.
Yeah, and we've talked about this. At least Metro Prime 4, even though it technically got announced sooner, at least we know it got rebooted. At least they spoke about it. Okay, here's what happened. Here's what's happening.
Yeah. And they didn't actually do that with Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, that's in Bayonetta 3 is just, we just haven't heard since, what was it, Game Awards December 2017, I believe it was.
Yes,
I believe it was. Don't worry.
It's been so long, I can't even remember. Honestly,
that's
it's
fair. That's very fair. It's
been
been a
like
very long time.
announced in 2001. If someone came up to me and said, "Oh, it was announced 2001," I wouldn't even bat an eye. I'd be like, "All right, that sounds fine."
The Duke Nukem Forever type situation where it's just keep going.
Yeah.
Except please don't be like that, because that game stunk. I have it physically for Xbox 360. I would not recommend playing it. It's not terrible. It's not irredeemable. It's just meh. It's just not what people hyped it up to be. But anyway, that's a completely other story. Point is, one of my predictions, Platinum's going to be there, probably with Bayonetta 3, and if not, there's something else. But Platinum will be there with a banger.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now I'm actually really excited for Bayonetta 3.
That's what I'm saying.
That makes like a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, if they announce 3, I do have 1 on Steam. I would play through that. Once I'm done that, get 2 on Switch, and then start prepping myself for 3.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm surprised I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pseudo surprised, but like not actually surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it's their own fault, and that everyone forgot about it. Again, as long as it's good, though. As long as it's good, it's all going to be fine.
Completely agree.
It's all going to be fine. But if they do announce it, it could be like a late August thing, similar to how Astral Chain was, because that game doesn't necessarily have to be a big anchor. And if not late August, I don't think they want to compete with Breath of the Wild. I don't think many things want to, so it could come out like a month or two before that, like in September, October, and if not, it would just get pushed to next year. I don't see this being a holiday game.
No, I definitely don't see Bayonetta 3 being a holiday game. They did say, like, Nintendo did announce that most of the stuff that's going to be in the Direct is going to be for this year.
Ooh, interesting. I missed that.
They say most, not all, so there is like some stuff that will be for the years beyond.
Yeah. Like Arceus might be an example if Pokemon Company doesn't do their own thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I can definitely see Bayonetta 3 coming out sometime next year and be like just one of the announcements.
Yeah.
Because we're like almost halfway through the year. We're pretty much halfway through the year.
Yeah. Almost.
And just on the predictions that we've made so far, like I don't know how they'd squeeze all of these in.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like just because like these are big things, right?
Yeah.
Like Breath of the Wild 2 is huge.
It's huge. It's huge.
Like, you don't want to put anything up against that. I mean, Pokemon is like pseudo up against it, but it's like the remakes. And
it's not the same
whole other thing.
Yeah, no, it's not the same thing.
But if like this Donkey Kong game comes out like this year,
that's probably gonna be. Oh man, that would be huge.
And then the Metroid Prime 2, like 2D, the Metroid 2D game.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so then what?
I don't know.
Where does anything fall?
I could see that being like a September type thing, similar to how Link's Awakening was. I can see that that being a September type thing.
So then where would you put DK?
That is a fantastic question. I don't know.
Like summer? Like soon?
Oh, well, because again, I kind of don't count last year just because of what happened. But say 2019, it was it was Astral Chain, late August, Link's Awakening September, Luigi's Mansion October, and then Pokemon November. So they could go one a month like that, and just have another huge year like that was. So in which case, Metroid September, Donkey Kong October, or if they want to push everything up a little bit to give both Pokemon and Zelda to breathe, it could be a Metroid like really, really late August, Donkey Kong late September, October kind of let that breathe a little bit, and then November with
Pokemon,
the big boys.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that could work. I don't know what I'm talking about though, so that's just a prediction. But it could again. I'm looking about 2019 with Astral Chain, Link's Awakening, Luigi's Mansion, a bunch of hits. So yeah, I'm trying to fit it in a similar structure to that year.
That makes sense. Now, yeah, I'm thinking about it. That does make sense. And what if they fit Bayo 3 in October?
Ooh, that could
It's
like
work. A Halloween-y
that could
game.
work. Yeah, like Luigi's Mansion 3, a bit. I mean, very different audience than Luigi's Mansion 3, but similar kind of darker tones. So I can see that fitting for sure in October. I don't know if it's coming this year though. But
I don't think it's coming this year.
I don't think it's coming this year. Again, I can see it being like a March next year type thing. April, maybe. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I do know Nintendo likes those March releases to get that nice end of fiscal year boost.
No, I agree. That makes perfect sense.
Like, what was it? Yoshi, 1 year. Animal Crossing last year, a Monster Hunter Rise this year. Like, it was, you know what I mean? Like, they like those late March boosts because the fiscal year, I believe, ends around there. So nice little boost, and then off to the numbers with the investors.
Yeah, of course. It makes it look good on the investor side of things.
Yeah.
When a company is like on its way up monetary rather than just being stagnant. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, especially after like January and February, there's a bit of a drop off after the big holiday rush ends.
Get 100%.
A little boost late March, and then you set up the following year as you move forward. So yeah, we could see another March game.
Yeah, I can see that being a thing for sure.
Yeah. So
you have another prediction on you?
I do. Wasn't Bayonetta 3 mine? Isn't it your turn?
I mean, I could go.
I do have another though. You want me to go? I'll go.
Sure, go.
Oh my goodness! I just had it in my head. Oh my goodness! Why am I blanking now? I was just thinking about it until I stalled. And oh my goodness! Okay, you go.
Okay, I will go.
Sorry,
I'll take over. No worries. Okay, so my fifth prediction here is that a Smash Fighter will be revealed.
Ooh.
And it's going to be released the day after the presentation.
Ooh. So like a shadow drop.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, because like Sakurai usually goes through the character.
Of course.
Before it's released. I feel like during the treehouse, he's going to have his little...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Go through. Yeah, because they said like it's like a 3-hour or 4-hour thing after the presentation. They're going to be doing a treehouse.
Yeah.
And it would not surprise me if half hour of that is just Sakurai going through the next DLC character.
He's so good. Like, I still don't get how he plays with two controllers. I still don't get it. I don't.
Yeah, he's an impressive man.
Yeah, man.
Definitely deserves to retire if that's what he decides to do.
Yeah, honestly.
But aside from that, so like Metroid franchise got Ridley, right?
Yep.
For Ultimate. The Mario franchise got Piranha Plant.
Okay.
DK, K. Rool.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, I'm following.
We even already got a Fire Emblem rep. So there's no way Sakurai's gonna do that again, right?
No.
Right, Sakurai?
Byleth 2, right? Electric Boogaloo. Yeah.
So, which big Nintendo franchise has still not gotten an additional rep in Ultimate?
I'm trying to think.
Maybe one with a game that's coming out later this year?
Oh? Why am I blanking?
The Legend of Zelda, dude.
Of course.
I mean, they have a bunch of
Ganon
reps already, but they didn't get a new rep like the other franchises.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I think to push Breath of the Wild 2 even more,
Young Impa?
predicting one of the champions as the next DLC character.
Ooh.
Old or new champions.
Ooh. I don't think it's going to be the... I forget some of other names, but like... I can describe them. The Rito Village champion, the bird guy.
Rivali?
Yes.
Ravioli?
Yeah. He always came across as just Zelda Universe Falco. To me, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a blue bird. I'm a simple man. Be quiet. It's fine.
He's interesting concept-wise, though. Like what they could do with like a move set with him.
Ooh, I was thinking the same thing with who I think it might be is the. Oh my goodness, it's been way too long since I've played Breath of the Wild. But the big dude from the volcano. What's his name?
The Goron guy?
Yeah.
I can't
the Goron
remember
guy.
his name.
I can see him being in like that King DDD, King K. Rool kind of fighter vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing because they don't have like a lot of really heavy fighters, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
So he would like definitely fit in quite well.
I think that could be really cool.
But I also think that Sidon was like, or Mifa.
Mifa would be really cool.
They were both very popular.
Mifa could be really, really cool.
Okay, and
what's the Gerudo champion's name?
Urbosa,
yeah.
And that goes into my next thing here.
Oh.
Is I'm hoping it's not Urbosa.
Oh, why?
Because, okay, so I loved Urbosa in the game.
Oh, 100%.
She's also probably
cool.
one of the most fleshed out characters of the champions.
I agree with that. Her personality is like very clear.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Even like pre-DLC and everything, because everyone got like more personality during the DLC. Like she was always like, okay, Urbosa is the character that they focus on the most.
Yeah.
She had like very tight ties with Zelda and stuff.
Yep. Very strong character.
But she's a sword fighter.
Ooh, people don't like sword fighters anymore in Smash.
And
There's just too many of them. It's saturated.
Yeah, it's too much. I mean, even if she's the one that comes out, if this is true, like I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna be upset.
Of course.
But we have like a lot of people that use swords, and I would just like some variety in that way.
Yeah, that's what people didn't like the Byleth choice. That's why even with the last reveal, the Xenoblade Chronicles one, people were like, "Oh yay, she uses like a sword." Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. So yeah. Like I said, I would really like the Goron guy. I cannot think of his name.
Mifa.
Mifa? Fair. Mifa's really cool. And I've had very, very close ties to Link as well.
Yeah. I think, I would definitely like Mifa. Or like, I could see it being one of the new champions. Because
Daruk.
They might... Yes, Daruk. That is him.
So yeah, I just googled it, sorry. Go on.
I can see them... Yeah, I can see them choosing one of the new champions because they might play a larger role in Breath of the Wild 2.
Fair.
And if they did choose a new champion, I think Sidon would be the champion they chose. Because that's the only one that like actually stood out to me.
Sidon?
If I'm honest. There was like Rivali, but like white feathers.
Sidon isn't a champion though, is he?
No, but they're like the pseudo new champions. Like none of them are actually champions. None of the new peoples. So like Sidon, Yonobo, white feathered bird. I can't remember his name. I actually really like that guy. So I don't know why I'm being so rude. But like,
what do you mean new champions? Then, is that an Age of Calamity thing? What are you talking about?
No, like the people.
I mean, I know who Sidon is.
People, right?
Yeah, I know who Sidon is, but like he wasn't a champion.
Yeah, but they're pseudo. Like I'm saying, they're pseudo champions.
They're there.
Like, they're people that help you, to take over the beast and stuff. Like they're the they're the next in line.
That's a better way of putting it. Okay, but yeah.
With like Sidon, Yonobo, white feather dude, and Riju, I believe her name was.
I think so. Yonobo is such a goofball. I like his character.
I actually really didn't like Yonobo.
Really? He's just a goofball. He's just... I don't know. I
didn't like Death Mountain very much. So like that
Fair.
just kind of was. It came like
Fair.
hand in hand, and like the escort mission, while it was like
The escort mission was kind of annoying.
It was an interesting change of pace, but it was also like not.
It was annoying.
Entirely the most fun.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. Those kind of moves. It's like, wow, look, now I get to walk for 10 minutes, except there are restrictions now. Ooh.
Yeah, it also like
can't wait.
He's like the only champion that like you interacted with in that way.
Yeah.
And it made him feel so stale. Because it was like, all right, whistle and I'll stay still.
Yeah.
And then whistle again and I'll keep running. And I'm like, okay.
Mechanically, I completely agree. But yeah, but just based on like the character, I don't know. I like the fact that he was a bit of a goofball. But I mean, not the sharpest tool in the shed. He's kind of shy and like constantly second guess himself. I don't know. I thought he was. At first, I found it a bit annoying, but like over time, I found it like endearing because like over time, like he does become more confident and does, you know what I mean? Like I like that part of it, I guess.
Yeah. I don't mind him as a character. I just like because of like me not liking Deathbound and not liking the mechanics of like the fetch quest or whatever it was.
That's totally fair.
It kind of like pulls me away.
That's totally fair.
From him, he does like. All of these people do a lot better things in Age of Calamity. There's like cutscenes and stuff. Sorry if there's any spoilers there, but like there is like these new people that come in, these new champion-esque people.
Fair.
That come into the game. They all get more fleshed out. Like everybody gets more fleshed out in Age of Calamity. Yeah.
Very cutscene heavy, isn't it?
Very, very cutscene heavy. It's almost just a movie with a Warriors game sprinkled in.
That's not a bad thing, though.
No, I think it's
a bad thing.
Probably one of the best things about the game is that you got to experience a lot more of the story.
Nice. Yeah. I do have my last prediction.
That was mine. Go ahead.
Okay, so Monster Hunter Rise. It came out late March. 2.0 came out late April, rather. 3.0 came out late May. And then they said during the 3.0 presentation, like from now on, like it's going to be 3.1, 3.2 with like events and stuff like that, right? Like the major updates are kind of done for now. It's going to be like collaborations with other games and small events and stuff like that. But then they also said recently that Capcom said that Monster Hunter Rise is going to be at their E3 presentation, and I'm like, hold on. But if you just said that there's not going to be really like a 4.0, for example, this month, you mean it's just going to be events and collabs? What are you talking about? I think that they're going to finally start teasing and setting up the ultimate expansion, akin to of how Monster Hunter World had Iceborne. I think they're going to start teasing that the Iceborne equivalent for Rise.
I see.
Because Iceborne, for anyone who has only played World and or Rise and did not play the older games, it used to be where they would release the base game and then like a year or two-ish later they would release the ultimate version of that game. So like 4 and 4 Ultimate Generations and Generations Ultimate. And Generations Ultimate would have all the content from the base game and G rank and new monsters and this and that. Whereas with World, they dropped that formula and just released all of the, instead of re-releasing the same game with more content, they only released the new content as its own separate DLC. So and that was Iceborne. And so I think Rise is finally gonna start teasing its Iceborne-esque DLC. Or Ultimate-esque DLC, whatever you want to refer to it as, with Master Ranks or G Ranks, whichever way they want to go. But yeah, I think it's getting the expansion teased.
That's actually a really good prediction. I don't follow like Capcom and stuff, but that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. They said it's just going to be expansions events from here on out. but then events and collabs from here on out. But then they also said it's going to be at their E3 presentation. I was like, hold on, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that'd be a bit weird to be like, okay, yeah. I mean, they could announce some sort of event, but
at E3 though.
Yeah, I mean, it's Zelda's 35th or whatever this year.
It is, right? Indeed. And Metroid. No one's talking about Metroid. It's Metroid's 35th as well.
Yeah, I know.
Just pointing it out there. I'm upset.
But apparently Nintendo doesn't care. So.
You're not wrong. I wish you were, but you're not.
So it could just be an event thing. No, but I think you're right. I think they'll probably announce like, okay, look, we have this whole big expansion, like a paid DLC that's coming like later in the next year or whatever.
Yeah, probably next year. Year. Again, akin to Iceborne, but for Rise and its own thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I think that's a great prediction.
Yeah. Because it's sold so far 7 million on Switch. And making it, I think, because before Rise, the best-selling Monster Hunters were, for a multi-platform release, it was Monster Hunter World. But for one individual console, it was Monster Hunter Portable Third. Because Monster Hunter 1 and 2 got their ultimate releases on PSP, being Monster Hunter Portable in Japan and then Monster Hunter Freedom in North America, and then for Monster Hunter 2 it was Monster Hunter Portable Second in Japan, and or Monster Hunter Freedom Unite here in North America. But Monster Hunter Portable Third, which was essentially the ultimate version of 3, except they took out the underwater combat, which is why 3U on Wii U is actually, that's the real 3 Ultimate. But Portable Third never got a North American release. It was a Japan-only, PSP-only release, and that was actually the best-selling single console Monster Hunter release, including Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World sold more, but only because it was cross-platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe Rise, currently being a Switch exclusive, did pass Portable Third as the best-selling exclusive Monster Hunter game, and it's coming to PC next year. So with that in mind, it has to be getting that Ultimate / Iceborne treatment soon at some point, and I think they could start setting that up now, since sales have been very, very good.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, it's probably a prediction that I didn't think of at all, but makes the most sense to me.
It's also because I've got like 200 hours in Monster Hunter Rise so far, and don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So I'm just very invested in that game and that series right now. So I was looking into that and following Capcom, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah.
Yeah, completely agree.
That was the last of my predictions. Do you have any more?
I've got one more prediction before moving on to our wants here.
Yep.
It's Animal Crossing.
Oh?
I think we're gonna get a nice big update.
Oh.
The biggest one since like Red came back in the museum and the Dream Suites and stuff.
Interesting.
I think Bruce is gonna come back. The Roost, Gyroids, like all that stuff.
Very interesting.
It's gonna be announced. It's gonna be released like mid to late summer. They might also like announce a Zelda crossover, Metroid crossover.
Yeah.
Somewhat like the Mario crossover that already happened. It's gonna have a bump and soundtrack.
Oh, it's
which
gonna
is
have
like
a bump and soundtrack.
No additional soundtrack, but I do love Animal Crossing music.
It's so good. It's so chill.
And this is pseudo a want from me as well. Like, I don't entirely believe that this is gonna happen, but it would be nice. Realistically, like, there's a good chance that they just leave Animal Crossing as is with like the simple events for quite some time.
Okay.
And I feel like if there's no like big announcement here at E3 for Animal Crossing, then I don't think there's going to be any big announcements for the rest of the year. It's just going to be seasonal updates
Fair.
for 2021.
Fair.
I feel like Animal Crossing kind of like hit its stride in the beginning, and it sold as much as it like, almost as much as Nintendo thinks it can.
Yeah.
So it might be like, okay, do we want to work on an update for this game, or do we want to just like do seasonal events for the rest of its lifetime? Because we already got like the fan base and extra in it. Like, who are we really bringing in?
Yeah. I think that game came out accidentally at the perfect time, because that's right when lockdowns and whatnot started, and people had to play something, and that was chill, got people's minds off things, and it was a perfect storm.
Like a social thing as well.
Perfect storm.
It really was
ridiculous.
It would make me sad to see no big updates. Like, there are data mines that say like the Roost and Brewster and stuff is already like pseudo coded in.
Interesting.
Like another level of the museum and everything.
That's really cool.
But that could have been cut content.
Interesting. Yeah. That's just because is there doesn't mean we know its context.
Yeah. Like, it could have been cut. They could have been like, okay, we're gonna keep it in just in case we ever go back.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Nintendo wants to take the time to actually keep pushing this game when they already know that like they've reached
It peaked.
almost maximum Animal Crossing already.
Yeah.
Like, with all the people that have bought the game.
Yeah. That game definitely peaked, I think. But still a great game though.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I haven't played it in
popularity
quite some time.
wise, it definitely peaked, I think.
Yeah.
One prediction I did not write down, but just thought of because it's been talked about so much. You probably heard about rumors surrounding this as well. Assuming you're done with Animal Crossing?
Yeah, I'm done. That's it.
Mario Kart 9.
Oh, that's my want, dude. It's my first want.
Well, then there you go. Let's transition right into wants then, because I don't have any more predictions. Do you?
No, that was it.
Okay, then there you go. Wants Mario Kart 9.
I want it.
I have basically 100%ed Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, I've got Gold Mario, the Gold Kart, the Gold Wheels, and the Gold Paraglider. I've got gold trophies on every single Grand Prix, and the 50cc, 100cc, and 150cc modes. Each of those gold trophies are all 3-starred, like perfect. And to unlock the gold stuff, you also have to do like time trials and other stuff like that. So I've done that as well. So yeah. I've played the poopies out of that game, and the online is still bumping. It's still fun, and just give me Mario Kart 9. Just give me the 9th one. That's all I want.
I want it so bad because you all have Mario Kart 8 on the Switch.
You could have as well.
Yeah, but I bought the game on the Wii U and I bought the DLC. Like, I already put way more money into the game than I probably should have.
Yeah, but you're gonna play with us though.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Because all three people bought the Wii U.
Obviously, I do care. Like, I want to play with you guys, but it's like it's hard for me to justify spending a full price on a game that I already have.
Yeah, it's just the double dip that stings.
Because it's not even just a double dip. Like, I paid full price for the game on the Wii U,
and
plus
the DLC.
The DLC was extra cost.
Yeah. Whereas now Deluxe, it comes with all of the DLC, but that's after you bought and paid for everything already once.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's tough. I
just want Mario Kart 9 so I can play with my friends.
Yeah, man.
And not feel bad.
I think it's coming.
You actually think it's coming? Like, for realsies?
I think they're gonna announce it. I really, really do.
You promise me?
No. What the heck?
Is that a promise?
I really I think it's coming. I'd be kind of disappointed if it isn't, because I think there's been so much smoke around it, And I mean, when there's smoke, there's fire. I do think. Again, I don't think it's coming out this year. Well,
Dude, that's a lot of announcements that are not coming out this year then.
Yeah, but Zelda Breath of the Wild was not a holiday game. So could that get pushed back and Mario Kart 9 be the big anchor? Who knows? We'll find out on the 15th.
Right. But I feel like, okay, so
we'll find out the 15th.
Hear me out here.
Yeah.
I feel like Mario Kart 9 clashes more with Pokemon than Breath of the Wild does.
Okay, so then to that point, could Mario Kart 9 be next year's big March game?
I think
we were just talking about how Nintendo likes other big March games.
I feel like that might be the case.
Yeah, Mario Kart 9.
If it's a thing.
Yeah,
I think that might be the case.
1080p 60 on base Switch, 1440p 60 on a Switch Pro? Question mark. Who knows?
Question mark? That's also in my wants.
Oh, a Switch Pro?
Yeah, I want a Switch Pro announcement.
I'm neither here nor there about it. We've talked about this before. I'm not double dipping. I just hope all of the games, even if it's like 720p 30 on base Switch and like 1080p or like 1440p 60 on Pro. Sure, you pixel counters and frame rate analysts can go get the second Switch in your house or third Switch in your house, whatever. I'm not buying a new console, so I don't really care if there's a Switch Pro announcement. I get that there's a big audience for it. I totally get there's a big audience for it, but I'm not buying a second Switch. I'm not doing it.
So like I'm in the same boat, right? Like I don't want a Switch Pro announcement because I'm going to buy a Switch Pro. Like that's like just not happening. I'm not spending like the money for another console that's just like an upgraded version of whatever.
Exactly. I'd rather get a PS5 at that point.
But I do think it's an opportune time for Nintendo to announce that there's going to be a new, more hardware-intensive system. We've actually had this discussion in the last podcast, which I think was where like the other systems are finally going to have more pull because they're all getting software announcements.
Yes.
Like games are announced, and that's kind of what the Switch had, like in its in its back pocket. Like, oh, okay, yeah, these guys, they have like crazy good hardware, but like, look at all the games that we have. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And eventually, that's gonna fade, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, the other consoles are going to have amazing games as well. So I would like for Nintendo to think about it and be like, okay, let's put out this new system if it exists.
If it exists, who knows?
If they never intended to make a Switch Pro, that's fine.
Yeah, fine by me. Believe me, I'm fine.
But
I'm good with
if
that.
it does exist, I do feel like it would be a good time to do it to compete.
Yeah. I also think with that in mind, given that the Switch's current hardware is already an NVIDIA chipset, and seeing how far a DLSS 2.0 has come since the Switch's release, I think that could be, again, the perfect storm to where even if it's not substantially more powerful, as long as it's able to run DLSS, even if it's running internally at a similar resolution, you would see visually a vast boost in clarity if it has DLSS 2.0. So I think that could be that technology alone would really, really, really help a Switch Pro, where it doesn't have to be running, like say again Mario Kart 9, even if it's running internally at the exact same 1080p that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe currently runs at, and or Mario Kart 9 would run at on a base Switch, 1080p with DLSS 2.0 upscales to full 4K.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very difficult to tell a DLSS 2.0 1080p to 4K and native 4K. It's very, very difficult. So again, the whole native resolution talk, given certain anti-aliasing techniques, given DLSS 2.0, the whole native resolution talk could be a thing of the past very, very, very soon, as the things are getting blurred real quick in that field.
Yeah. I just want for Nintendo to... It's been a long time since I've heard, oh, Nintendo's like way behind, like hardware-wise.
Yeah.
Like that's been a thing for a very, very long time, but it feels like we've finally gotten away from that discussion.
Yeah.
And I worry that if the Switch doesn't release with a Pro version at some point, that it's gonna fall back into those, into those times. Which, like, it doesn't like directly affect me, but it is kind of annoying.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So if a Switch Pro does exist, I think this is a really good time to do it.
Interesting.
If it doesn't exist and they're never gonna release a Switch Pro, then like kudos to them. It's all good.
I was another one of my wants though was Wind Waker and the Twilight Princess HD on Switch.
Ooh.
Someone mentioned on Twitter, Wind Waker, both the original and HD. Wind Waker has never been on a popular console. Combined, the GameCube and Wii U combined for about 33 million units.
Yeah.
It's which again, Wind Waker was playable on Wii and Wii U. Well, time out, definitely Wii, but like it was already old at that point. And Wind Waker HD gave it a great facelift and some quality of life updates, but it was on a console that sold even worse than GameCube.
Yes.
And again, we're talking about Zelda's 35th and Skyward Sword HD. Could they pull a 3D All-Stars thing and just finally pull those games over after Skyward Sword gets a bit of its limelight? I think we could get be getting those.
3D All-Star Zelda.
Yeah.
Also only available until March of the next year.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want.
But people were saying again, why would they release a Skyward Sword separately then if they're doing 3D All-Stars? Well, why did they release 3D World separately if they did 3D All-Stars? It's a very similar situation, I think. I mean, both for the 35th anniversary, both the more recent one, aside from the Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, respectively, which were already on Switch. More recent one,
console, yeah.
I mean, the most recent one before that got its own release in 3D World and Skyward Sword, respectively. And now the older ones, maybe even the N64 ones, they get a compilation. Could we see something very, very similar? I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a done deal, which is why it's in.
It's on a want, yeah.
Well, my wants are not predictions, but it's possible.
I do think it's possible. I don't think you're like grasping at thin air here, but it leaves a bad taste in my mouth thinking about them releasing a 3D collection and it being gone again. Like if they decide to do the exact same format.
Yeah, that would feel dirty.
I
don't know why they did that. I still don't know why they did that.
Yeah, I just don't like that exists.
Yeah.
Like, it's really... I don't know. It makes me feel bad. Like, as someone who's, like, been a Nintendo fanboy from the beginning, it's like, come on, Nintendo. Come on.
Yeah.
You're better than this.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right.
But if they just release them to buy, or whatever, at whatever cost they end up coming out, or like in a big title, like mashup 3D version.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go away. That would be really cool.
That would be really cool. Also, speaking of which, I didn't forget about Galaxy 2, but whatever.
I wanted Galaxy 2 so bad.
Yeah. Some people were saying that since Galaxy 2 had a much heavier reliance on motion control than Galaxy 1, then that could have been an issue. So people are saying, once a Galaxy 2 gets announced for Switch, they might re-announce the other three, but separately for a higher cost. Who knows? I don't know. At this point, I think the Galaxy 2 ship sailed. It's been a long enough time.
For the people who said that is because they had a much higher reliance on motion controls, can we take a look at Skyward Sword, please? It was literally the whole game is motion controlled.
Fact. Yeah.
You can't bring me Galaxy 2. It's the only Mario game I haven't played.
I mean, both of us do have Wii's though, so we can play it.
Yeah. I can play it, but I don't
want
want
it
to
on
buy it on the
Switch.
Wii.
Yeah.
I want to buy it on the Switch.
100% agree. 100% agree.
In fact, I don't even want to buy it on the Switch. I want to have already bought it as part of the 3D collection.
I'm not disagreeing. I completely agree. Oh man. Yeah. What's next on your wants though? Besides Galaxy 2.
To follow the Mario train here, I guess, is I want a new, but like pseudo reinvented 2D Mario game.
Ooh.
And before we move on, I know Mario Maker exists.
Okay.
So the need for a 2D Mario game isn't really there.
Not
There's spectacular levels in Mario Maker and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as a fully designed new 2D Mario game made by Nintendo.
I agree, but after watching Donkey's comparison of Tropical Freeze to a new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe or whatever it's called, I don't know. The levels did, like, at least visually, felt very, very stale and very samey. Where something like Tropical Freeze was much more diverse, which is why I think those rumors about the Nintendo, not retro, but the actual Nintendo in-house studio taking over the 2D Donkey Kong games, I think that's exactly where that came from, was because they didn't want to do another 2D Mario.
Yeah, and that's why this is one of my wants and not like a prediction.
Yeah, fair.
I don't think this would ever be a prediction.
Fair. Fair.
But I just really like platformers.
Of course.
And like Mario as a platformer always like will hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah, it was It's what almost every 2D platformer after it was inspired by. If we're being honest with ourselves.
Like even during the Wii era, where like they just kept on releasing 2D Marios, like new Super Mario Bros. And like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like I bought them all.
Yeah.
Geo. Every single one. I own them. And I love them. Like my child.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like it's not gonna happen, but I want it to happen.
Yes. Sorry, I just thought I heard a technical hiccup. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, I got a bit distracted there. But yes, I agree. 2D Mario is ultimately the Mac Daddy of 2D platformers, and a new one would definitely be a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to talk about it. Do you have another want?
I mean, besides Metroid Prime 4, not really.
Okay, so I'll go through my other two relatively quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
So I want Super Mario Party DLC.
Ooh. Plus you got that online update. Now that they switched the servers and whatnot, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mentioned here as well.
Nice.
Like they got the online update.
Yep.
It's like pseudo fresh in people's minds again.
Of course.
It would be nice to just, they don't even have to add like much. They can just add like a bunch of boards. Because that's what Super Mario Party is like kind of lacking in.
Yep.
Now that they actually have like functional online, I would say that's like the biggest fault. So
yeah, 100%.
I think it's a good time to do it if they're going to do it. I genuinely think people would actually pay for the DLC if it's just like a bunch of boards, as long as they price it like okay.
Yeah, if the base game went on sale and the DLC was fairly priced, I could even see myself picking that up. Maybe we could jam it a little bit.
Yeah. It's a good game.
Yeah, it was just lacking in content and online features. Now that online features got patched up, could the content be right behind it? Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows? I agree with that. I think it's a good. I think that could happen. Like it's not far off from a prediction.
Yeah, I think it's probably the closest prediction in my wants.
Yeah,
I guess, but you said Mario Kart 9 was
the most
also
plausible
like thing. So
yeah, Yeah. I mean, well, let's say all of these wants are plausible. It's just to various degrees, I suppose.
Yeah, and then I'll just transition straight into my last want here.
Yep.
I want Silk Song to be announced.
Oh my gosh.
I
almost forgot about that game.
I just want an announcement. I don't even need a release window or anything.
I do.
I just they can showcase a bit more gameplay to give me something more to be excited about, and I'll be okay.
That's fair. That's fair. I agree with that. I do think it needs a release day though. It's been 2.5 years since they announced it at that Nintendo Direct. So yeah, to your point, does it need a release date? No, but I like one with this being the wants section. Yes, of course. Yeah.
I guess I want to take my want really far. I want Silk Song Shadow Drop.
Yeah.
I want Silk Song Shadow Drop tomorrow, before E3.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because they're an indie studio. I give them a lot more leeway.
Of course.
It would just be nice to hear about it more. We just got that one trailer, and then I think there was
I don't even know.
A demo or something? I can't even remember.
I don't remember a demo. I do not remember a demo.
Yeah, there probably wasn't a demo. I'm thinking of a different game.
Well, there may have been, but I simply don't recall one.
No, genuinely, I don't. I think there wasn't a demo. I think I genuinely am thinking of a different game.
Okay.
But yeah, I would just like to see more. We talk about Hollow Knight all the time and how much it was such a great game. I have
oh my gosh,
such
high
hopes for Silk Song.
Of course, yeah. There's a Hornet now, so probably more tools at your disposal.
Yeah, so I would just like to see a bit more gameplay than they've already shown.
Agree.
Don't need anything else. It's all good. It can come out in 2 years for all I care. But just keep drip feeding me something,
That's fair.
Yeah, that's it for my wants, man.
Nice.
That's everything.
Do you want to go into the free games on Epic?
Yeah, dude. Let's do it.
Because I'm looking at it right now. Control is free right now. That's a pretty big budget game.
Yes.
If you've got a high-end PC and haven't picked up a Control, if for nothing more than just the visual spectacle that it is, that's a great pickup. And it says Genshin Impact is free until next week. I thought that was a free-to-play game.
I also thought that was a free-to-play
Unless
game.
they're announcing it's on Epic Games now. I don't know.
Oh,
that's
that
a possibility.
Might be a thing. Yeah.
And next week's games, because it's no longer a mystery game anymore. Next week has another 2 games. It's going to be, one is Hell is Other Demons. Never heard of it. Looks interesting. It looks very cool though. And the other one is Overcooked 2.
Oh.
We could probably do some Jimmy Jams on that online.
Definitely do something with
I'd be down for some Overcooked 2 Jimmy Jams.
Overcooked 2, that's nice. I think they had Overcooked as a free game earlier.
I do.
So it's cool to see the sequel coming in.
Well. Yeah, man. I'm quickly looking through some Hell is Other Demons screenshots. It's very pixel arty, very stylized. I'm liking it.
Nice.
Each scene isn't monochrome, but each scene, one scene has its own color palette. The next scene has a completely different color palette. One is very purple, black, pink, and white. The next one is very black, gray, orange. But it's very, very specifically. Each scene has a completely separate color palette, even the UI and everything, which I find very interesting and very stylized. I like it. It's cool. I'm definitely gonna be checking that one out. Looks like a 2D kind of platform shooty thingy. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. Definitely
looks cool.
Definitely will be doing the same. I'm gonna grab them all as per usual.
Of course. Yeah, Overcooked 2. That could be some fun co-op.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very fun co-op. Yeah. That's what's free on Epic. Is there anything else?
Yeah. No, I didn't get any speedruns or anything this time. It was mostly an E3 based discussion this time.
Yep.
So
because it's that time of year, baby.
It is that time of year.
I'm very, very excited for E3. Can't wait.
Me neither, man. Me neither. It's so close.
I know, that's why.
Literally less than a week away.
That's why next week's episode is going to be our reaction to what we saw and heard over this coming week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very, very excited for that as well. See what Nintendo brings. See what everyone brings. Oh, also something I quickly wanted to mention, because I was looking at the schedule. Ubisoft and Devolver Digital are back to back, except Ubisoft's is called Ubisoft Forward, and so Devolver named theirs as Devolver Forwarder, since they're directly after Ubisoft. So just wanted to point out that Devolver Digital has employed a bunch of trolls, and
That's
I'm
hilarious.
100% here for it. I'm 100% here for it. It's great. So yeah, wanted to point that out real quick. That was great. But I think that just about does it for today's episode. Anything you want to end off on?
Be kind to everybody.
Be kind to everybody. Stay inside. Drink your milk and eat your peas. And listen,
delicious.
always listen to Beach Buds.
The Beach Buds.
Always listen to Beach Buds. Without further ado, I do believe that does it for this week's episode. If you liked our predictions, wants, and or anything we do here, give us a like, subscribe, ring that notification bell for more content, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.